Hey ladies, welcome back to today's video. So today's video is going to be for any of you who are tired of wasting time. If you're feeling tired of the dating scene, if you feel like you don't have the results that you want, if you feel like you haven't cracked the code, if you're wanting a change, if you're ready for a change or you want that, then keep on watching. This video is for you. If you don't know what you want and you're happy with the results that you have today, then this video is probably not for you. This video is for those who are ready to consider a different way of thinking so that you can get different results. So in my coaching practice, and I've been a dating and relationship coach for quite a few years. In my practice, in our world, we are dating to find our forever mate. We are dating for marriage. We are not dating to waste time. So a lot of you are thinking that you are just happy to be in love with to be in love with someone and be loved by someone, right? Only to find out 2 or 3 years later that it wasn't really love after all. And that is exactly right, because what you feel in the beginning, that is infatuation, and you're going through the beginning of the pair bonding experience. So after two years, around there, you start to wake up to reality that this person is not perfect, that it wasn't what you wanted. So what happens is that in every relationship, after a certain period of time, the honeymoon period passes and you find yourself fighting, you find yourself disappointed with each other. So when that happens outside of the container of marriage, of course, you're going to opt out, because in that instance, you are not really all in. You are really and truly 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So, typically at that point, one of the two people start to look around and find someone else. Okay, so the title of the video says, How Boyfriends Keep You Chronically Single. See, part of my background in my coaching practice is my upbringing and my culture. I come from a culture that is not North America, it's not Europe. So it's from Latin America. I grew up and was also I was born and raised in Mexico, and I lived in Argentina for half a decade. So over there, we used to do things very, very differently. We used to do things the way our ancestors used to do things, which were in a way that it's more in line with your human nature. So the aspect of your human nature is that you go out with someone, you want to date someone with the intention of getting to know them. You want to get to know them deeply, and that's why you want to date one person. But let me talk about what it means to get to know someone. See, I've been married for almost 13 years, and I'll tell you that each day, each month, each year, I get to know my husband at a deeper layer. So getting to know someone deeply really happens within a safe container where people can feel safe and open up truly. So it's taken years, over a decade, to really get to know the depths of each other. Now, to find a forever love, forever mate, it's kind of hard for you to say that you would need to know them deeply, because knowing someone deeply really takes centuries. What's important, it's for you to know their core values, what they value at the core and how they view life. And if this aligns with your core values, this is what will stand the test of time. Okay? So you don't need a century to know that. You don't need a decade. You can know very, very quickly. Within a couple of times of knowing or of seeing them, going out with them, takes a few handful of times for you to really grasp what they're about, how they see life, and what their values are. And that is if you know what you're looking for when you're going out with people. So if you don't really know what you're looking for, then obviously you can spend a lifetime or years, right, realizing that. Like, let's take the following, for example. Let's say you start seeing someone, and 2 years down the road, you discover that they never wanted a family, they never wanted to be married really and truly, or that they're not ready for marriage, for example. They're not ready for that, and they're moving on to the next person. So finding out very soon enough if this person believes in family, if he's a man, if he's a masculine man that has as a value taking care of his family, protecting and providing for his family, right? If this is a core value of his, you can find that really, really soon. You don't need years to get to know that about someone, right? Very soon you learn what kind of temper this person has, the way they talk to other people in front of you. Like, if you know what you're looking for when you are out dating, it's not going to be hard for you to know if this is someone that you can spend a life with. Okay? It's a myth that you have to live with someone to really know them. So are they messy? Do they, are they a total mess? Or, those like more superficial things. These aren't values, you understand? Because a messy person changes with the years. They do. When you as a feminine, are able to be a leader in the energetic realm and lead by example, they'll follow your lead. You know what I mean? So the point that I'm trying to make with this maybe ramble is that the notion of boyfriend and the logic that is used. And before I continue with that, let's go through let's continue with the ramble if you want. It's really not a ramble. It's for you to really understand the logics behind this. So I didn't need to see my husband for for 10 years to know that he's super responsible financially. I didn't need to be with him for 10 years to know that he, is someone that wants to do the right thing. I didn't need to be with him for 10 years to know that he believes in family. Okay? So I didn't need to be his girlfriend for all this time for him to see if I was good enough. No. And you don't need that either. Because when you put yourself in the position of being someone's girlfriend, is what you're telling them, really and truly, because your intention is to get to know them, but the message you're really sending is, well, you'll see, you'll get to try me out like I'm an object, like a car. You'll try me out and see if it works for you. Excuse me? No. I am enough. I am good enough. Are we a match? Is a different question. You don't need a century to know if you're a match. If your values match and your view of life matches, you'll be able to stand the test of time. There's superficial things that come and go. Chemistry comes and goes depending on the polarity that you insert in the relationship, depending on the dynamic that you want to have. And you as a woman are in charge of the dynamic, let me tell you that. So, you know the story where there's two scenarios. Guy meets girl, and this is the power of first impressions, and this is what it's all about. Guy meets girl, and he's like, wow, like, oh, like first date. And you hear this all the time. In my practice, I see it all the time, and this is what we're looking for. Guy meets girl, and he's like head over heels. He's like, wow, like he's just impressed with you. He has this incredible self-impression, first impression. And then you're like, well, we can see each other for some times and exchange some information, really, and see if we're a match. You're saying this in your mind, right? And you're not committing to this person because he's impressed with you and all of this, but you don't know if you're a match. Okay? You don't know that. So you need to date other people so that you can see who is a better potential match for you. And when you have other options, yeah, you're not going to be pair bonding with this one person. We'll talk about the dangers of you pair bonding with a person who has not committed to you. Okay? We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Okay? So very soon, the people that were so impressed with you, and perhaps you were too, they're going to come to you with a ring very soon. So let's talk about the other scenario. I'm going to use my example just because it's the first one that comes to mind here. When I was seeing Pierre, like my husband, he proposed very, very quickly within just a handful of dates, really, right? It was less than 2 or 3 months, something like that. And I remember someone that I knew, she told me like, oh my God, you got engaged. Congrats. She's like, don't you think that's so soon? And she's like, well, Alex, he's like, yeah, Alex, oh my God. He's like, Alex, didn't it take you like 5 or 6 years to propose? She's like, God. But she's saying it kind of like, I mean, he's definitely not too impressed with you. So you had to basically convince him or give him some ultimatum or whatever for him to be like, okay, I guess I'll marry you, right? And time passed. And a guy that marries you like that out of inertia, right? Out of like, okay, I guess, I guess I'll marry you. It's been a while, I guess, right? Because he has no better option, maybe. He married her, and lo and behold, of course, they're divorced by now. He never had this major first impression about her and respect for her. You understand? It's respect. So how is someone going to respect you when you put yourself through a trial? When you let someone use you, try you, do you think they'll be impressed? Do you think they'll be smitten and in love with you by trying you out? No. And stories, like 50% of the population that split come from inertia relationships. A lot of them, So that's the other scenario, right? The first scenario is where guy meets girl, he's super impressed, and he's courting her for a few weeks, a couple months, and then guy that is crazy about a girl, he wants to put a ring on it. He wants to take her off the market. You understand? He's not like, okay, let me see about you. Let me get to know you. Let me try you out. Let me use you while we're at it. No. A guy that is super impressed with you will want to take you off the market. You understand? He doesn't want to use you, try you. He wouldn't want that for you if he's all about you. I want you to understand that. Okay? So maybe you're thinking, well, I want to try him and I'm the one who wants to try him. Well, he's going to try you too. And guess what that kind of energy, guess where that kind of energy takes you? It takes you into 2 years down the road. He's like, well, I don't know about you. Or you're like, well, I don't know about you. And on to the next. And the cycle continues. Occasionally, you do find someone, maybe you got tired, but more often than not, this is why people make practices and businesses out of this, because of the problematic that continues to go in this cycle. The people that are having trouble in dating, right, is because they go through this cycle. Okay? So while you are in the cycle of getting to know someone, and at the 2-year mark, or the year and a half or 2 years or 2 years and a half, right around there, you are madly attached to him. Okay, so when you spend time with someone, only one person, you pair bond, you biochemically attach. You're infatuated. You're attached. You're not in love, because love is a different topic. Love takes many, many years to build when you're in a safe environment. Now, the pain of him not being sure about you, because typically women, they're more in, like they are sure. They're the ones that are like kind of full in, but the guy is more like, so the girl is waiting for him to say he wants to be with her forever and stuff, right? To propose, to commit for real. Because telling someone, yeah, I'm committed to you, like, I don't care what you say, like, I need to experience that, through a real commitment, which implies a financial aspect, implies something for real, like taking you off the market, right? And yeah, a lot of you are going to say, but I'm not like a piece of meat to be in a market. Well, see it as whatever you want to see it. But again, a real commitment is when someone comes to you and literally doesn't want you to date anyone else, and he's going to put a ring on it. But anyway, we already talked about that. So you experience the pain of him. He doesn't want to move in with you because obviously not, because like, why would he remove other options, and go through that mess, when he's only spending time with you? So let's talk about that. Men also dream about being swept away, smitten, okay? Men are also seeking the experience of meeting that girl who they're just like, wow. They make their heart sing and they just know she's the one. Men are looking for that too, not just women. But in the meantime, the nature of man is to accept or eat a quick meal, take the low-hanging fruit. If it's thrown at him, he'll take that. So part of the title of this video is stop being a placeholder. Okay? Stop being a placeholder, because a lot of times when men get into those relationships is because they're getting the free sex. They're having a good time for a while. They're passing some time until they meet someone who stops them in their tracks, right? And who say, wow, she is the one. Immediately they know. Understand? So 2 years come, he starts to, kind of fizzle out, be distant, and there will be a breakup that is triggered by his behavior, starts to trigger you to bring up conversations and doing things and ultimatums and this and that. And, breakup comes, you're heartbroken. And once you go through enough of those, that's why we're saying this video is for those ladies who have been through this over and over. Once you go through that breakup, the pain, it's trauma. This is traumatizing you over the long term. You are starting to associate men and relationships with really bad pain. It's literally causing you trauma and pain. Basically, you're damaging yourself, right? So your whole boyfriend thing, from your good intentions of wanting to get to know someone, turns into a lifetime of trauma, right? And it's not something you need to do to find the one at all. You don't need that. You don't need anyone to try you. You don't need to try him. So a lot of women come to my practice, like when they initially come to me, saying they need to know the size of the guy's dick. Are they able to, have good sex, whatever? And I'm like, oh my God. If you're looking at the guy's, stuff, like, you better have perfect tits, you better be the best in bed. Like, and even then, that changes through time. Like, what used to be exciting like 2 years later is like blah, right? Like, that stuff comes and goes. So, ladies, enough of the rant. What I'm trying to say is that the whole boyfriend thing is keeping you chronically single. Because do you ever say to anyone that you're a girlfriend? Like, it's not a real status. It's a temporary thing. It's a placeholder status. And it's like a limbo. You are in limbo with someone. Sure, you're having a good time for a while, right? But come the 2-year mark, 2-3 year mark, and then it's like, well, guy starts to act up. Why? Because they're starting to see other women. They're starting to think about, the one. Are you the one? Why he's not married to you? Right? So anyway, this is for you who wants to change. If you don't have the results that you want, this is an invitation for you to think about doing something different. So when you're doing circular dating, courtship dating, rotational dating, whatever you want to call it, you don't need to go through that limbo status. You don't need to do any of that. Now, whenever women come into my world, the minute you mention dating multiple people, they're literally like, no. They're like freaking scared by that idea, and it's like an immediate no. Okay? If this is you, I want you to stop for a minute and think. You're coming from a place of being the good girl. You want to be loyal. You want to show your loyalty. And then you're wondering why people crap on your loyalty. Guy crapped on your loyalty. Why? Because it's not a loyalty he deserved. Why? Because loyalty is for husbands. Loyalty is for people who commit to you. Commitment doesn't mean a word. Commitment means actions. A life dedicated and shared with you. This is commitment. Living together is not a life shared with you. Living together is not that tacit commitment. Okay? A lot of men love the idea of sharing expenses with you. Of course, it's convenient, right? A lot of men love the idea of free sex, or like sex that doesn't really require any commitment, because for them it's also convenient, to share expenses or just have someone there that gives them the benefits of a wife without him having to actually commit his life to you. Now, I live in Canada, right? Currently. And in some countries, this is the case too, where you have common law. So you're thinking, oh, well, it's common law, right? Dude, like, when did he tell you he wants to, or when did he show you he wants to pledge his assets When did he tell you that everything that I own is yours too, for you and our unborn child? When did he promise you that? Okay. How did he do it? No, well, he didn't show you that intention. The fact that it is because you live in Canada or wherever there's common law, are you telling me that you're okay just because by law he would have to give you half of the new assets that you acquire? Any past assets is not gonna be yours, right? He never told you that what's his is yours. So commitment is a real thing. It's not like I'm half in, half out. So the way that I looked at it, growing up, being someone's girlfriend was not a thing in certain circles. Like if you were in a different type of circle, it might be. In mine, it wasn't. But growing up, it was like I was the one who never really had a boyfriend. A teenager or my early 20s, I'd be someone who say, no, I don't want that, because why would I want to have a boyfriend and get attached when I'm not getting married right now as a teenager or being 20? So it made no logical sense to me. And let me tell you, the reason why men date several women at the same time is because you're not the one. So he's seeing different people, right? So growing up, I was like, no, like, why would I have so many places to be, so many things to learn. You know, I traveled the world, lived abroad, studied abroad, I was an athlete, no time for that. Okay. I was, going after my dreams, going after, all my desires and things, learning skills. So only when I was ready, at age 25, 26, or 26, right? I said, okay, yeah, now we're going to get married. Now we're going to do circular dating. Okay. And the purpose is to find a suitable husband, a match. Right. So I never really went through that, like real heartbreak or like that trauma. So I wish for you that you don't get into that, because it's not a requirement to live happily ever after. You don't need to suffer to find happily ever after. You don't need to kiss a lot of frogs to find a prince. You don't need that. I'll tell you that. In my experience and in the experience of the clients that come to me, they find that it's not necessary to suffer a great deal to then find happily ever after. So please don't be a placeholder, right? Hold out for the person that is like wowed by you and that wants to put a ring on it, right? Do circular dating to, see who has the values that you have. And then, like your loyalty should be to someone who commits to you forever. Your loyalty shouldn't be to someone who has not committed to you, because he's not going to value it. He's not going to appreciate it. Even if he tells you like, oh yeah, you're such a good girl, and you like, that's not how you are a good, nice girl. A good, nice girl doesn't allow a man to use her And you don't need to use a man either. You don't need to test him out. Okay, so don't get this misconception that this is the way you get to know someone. Getting to know someone for real takes years and years. Finding out people's values, their core essence. Some people say it takes you 30 seconds, right, to really know that. I mean, maybe not 30 seconds, but what I'm saying is that you can really know what a person is about and their life values in a few times that you meet them. You really can, right, if you know what you're looking for. So that's part of the training that we do in my practice, whether it be one-on-one or my course that's coming out that is going to have it really packaged for you, kind of like what to look for, how do you look for those values and things, right, like where it doesn't require a lifetime for you to know, right? So let me know if you're interested in that. Like, sign up to my email list to look at everything that's coming up, and subscribe to get more videos and advice on these topics. And like the videos if you think other people should know this. So this is food for thought, ladies. If you haven't gotten results with your current method, if you're tired in 2023, and especially if you're tired of wasting time. So that's it for now, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.